A lot of teams are very excited right now to have the new AI dashboarding agents in Amplitude. They promise instant insights, summaries, and even recommendations. However, your AI will only work best if you give it the right context. Hi, my name is Olivia. I'm a growth consultant here at Adasight. And in today's video, we are going to understand how to best set up your dashboard so your dashboarding agents can have its maximum performance. AI agents works best as a context and a reasoning layer, not really a replacement for your dashboard, right? So your dashboard shouldn't have all of these raw data coming in, but rather you want to make sure that the dashboard that you built here feed the AI with intent, structure, and decision context. You want to tell your AI agents that the dashboard is built to monitor certain KPIs or certain information here. So the winning setup will always be you have a human framing here, a person who understands what they want to see, a person who understands, okay, these are the metrics that will be useful, and then later on you process that and create a good, clear dashboard that is easy to read, not just for humans, but also for AI. And then this is where you'll have the AI agents help you out with reading and helping you out with understanding metrics and also helping you out, do that deeper dive. So let me show you how this works by using the Amplitude AI dashboarding agents. Before we get going on the dashboarding agents, the first thing that you have to do is that you have to build your dashboard. You can build your dashboard in two ways. One is either KPI specific, or the other one is you can do it on a team specific. So in our case here, I have a marketing dashboard. This marketing dashboard is essentially a dashboard for the marketing team to observe what is going on. The marketing team, in our case here, wants to know which of these advertisements that they're doing are doing well, right? Which of these advertisements are generating the most user. And they also want to know which one of these marketing channels basically gives me the highest conversion and also the fastest conversion, right? So this is how you would build your dashboard if it's team-based, but let's say it's KPI-based. For example, you want to know, I want to know people who register and onboard, then your dashboard will be suited to specifically that and that theme alone. We want to make sure that we give AI agents the most context as possible. So it will be best if we maybe add some description right here. So say it's a marketing dashboard to monitor advertisement and conversion based on advertisement. You can also add information here in the actual charts. You can add that here. Visited our website. The more context you give, the better it is for your AI agents. So let's start with creating our first agent. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to this agent section here on the left side on the left bar here. And what you can do is you can click on create new agent. And in our case here, we want to look at the dashboard agents. So give it a name. In our case here, I want a marketing agent number 2, for example, and then you select a dashboard that you want to have a look at. So in our case here, our dashboard is titled marketing dashboard. And then in here, you can do two things. One is either you can use the starter prompt or you can actually create your own. For my case here, I wanted to create a starter prompt here where I said, okay, let's say weekly business reporting, right? And from here, you can change the values with the ones in the bracket. So for example, here, I want to know that, okay, the people who are looking at this are going to be the growth team, and let's say the marketing team. And then you can give it some metrics. So for example, here, best UTM source conversion into checkout, and then you can have all of these values filled out exactly the way that you want to see it. Another thing that you can do here is that you can have notifications. So you can either have yourself be emailed, for example, here, okay, email me every Friday, or maybe connect to Slack. But for our case here, I don't really want to have a email notification. And then here, what we can do is we can start creating this agent and run flow. It does take some time, so I have actually created one for us for the session. So here's an example of the dashboard agent that I created. So I added a lot of information based on the questions that I want my team to get answers to from the dashboarding agent. And then once they start working on this, this is what they created. For my case here, I wanted to look at a week-over-week overview. I wanted to know which sources give me the best conversions. I want to see how that looks like. So this is what they have as a result. It tells me information such as, okay, here I can see that Instagram is the strongest checkout engine, right? Direct people have a lot of volume, but not really good conversions. So it gives you a lot of good insights, and then it pulls out all that data for you to have a look at. So on top of giving you the insights, it also gives you some information regarding, okay, this is what that looks like right now. This is why I say that, let's say the best conversion comes from this area. It also tells you some hypotheses of what's going on, a reasoning for what's going on. It has an impact on the next steps. Also have alternative explanations. It's very good for you, for example, if you want to do that week over week overview. It also tells you how, for example, 2 weeks ago versus last week versus this week is going on, right? It does that data comparison too. The best thing about having this dashboarding agent is the fact that you can ask it questions, right? So in this case, for example, I ask it, hey, why do you think that direct has the worst checkout rate? And in here, it tells me, hey, it's not really the checkout rate per se, but rather the add to cart rate here. So it says here, direct underperforms before to cart, right? So before you add it to cart, the performance wasn't really good, right? This is where your biggest drop-off lands, and that's why you have a conversion rate of 2.7%. Another great thing here is that it tells you what are your next steps here. So for example, they tell you, hey, can you investigate Instagram specific checkout barriers, right? See what's going on there. And what Amplitude does is that it pulls out all this data so you can compare it, for example, here, Instagram versus direct. And then here, they also do it by platform or by country, or, just like looking at the error signals. This is where Amplitude AI dashboard agents will shine if you give it the right context. So once you're done looking at the data and you think, wow, this is a very good insight, let me share that with my team, you should definitely do that, because sometimes your team can also maybe look at some gaps, and you can share that here by sharing this link to your team members, and then your team members can also query within the same AI agents. You can also share your findings. Initially, if you remember, we have that settings where we can send weekly emails. You can also send that weekly email to your team member. So this is a really great tool for you to be able to observe your data, notice those gaps, as long as you give AI the right context. And also, just for a friendly reminder, whatever you see here in AI, make sure that you double and triple check the data, because like all AIs, sometimes, you can have some errors. So yeah. Remember to just double check the data and make sure that before you make big decisions that the data is correct. So the last step, and it's the most important step, is that, with whatever insights that you get, it only matters if it leads to action. So in our case earlier, we saw that the direct people are not really converting, especially during the add to cart. Then this is where we would run experiments where we improve our add to cart flows, right? So these are some of the things that you could do based on the data that you have. Another thing is that if, let's say, they notice a spike or a drop in your data, something to look at and see, okay, what am I doing wrong this week? What am I doing well this week? So then you can improve that and make sure that next week, your numbers are better. So now that you know how to use AI dashboarding agents. I hope you try it out yourself. And as always, remember that, these AI agents are not really magic. They basically work really well only if you give it the right context. If you give them messy dashboard and unclear goals, it will be really hard for them to drive to the right. If you give them messy dashboards and unclear goals, it will be really hard for them to derive to some conclusions and some analysis. But if you combine like the really good dashboards and also the really good context, definitely AI dashboarding agents will be a very powerful tool for you. I hope this video was helpful, so stick around and subscribe to this channel to learn more about AI agents and Amplitude. Thanks for watching. Bye.